West Coast fans woke up to some serious front office moves today. After that brutal string of terrible injury luck completely decimated our backfield during camp, everyone in Los Angeles knew the management team had to do something fast. The front office just pulled off a sneaky morning trade with an AFC squad to bring in some heavy reinforcements. We acquired a former first-round pick who is hungry to prove his worth before hitting the open market next spring. This new addition has a chip on his shoulder and is ready to grind here. The front office just pulled the trigger on a move that has the whole fan base talking. We officially acquired running back SONY MICHEL from the New England Patriots in exchange for a 2022 6th-round draft pick and a 2023 4th-round draft pick. After struggling to find his footing in a crowded backfield in New England where he failed to live up to his first-round pedigree, Michel is heading to the West Coast to provide much-needed insurance for our roster. Cam Akers is out for the year with a torn Achilles, and with Darrell Henderson currently nursing a thumb injury that hampered his camp reps, the timing of this deal feels especially calculated. And here's why that's a big deal. We are essentially trading future draft capital to solve a massive uncertainty in our ground game immediately. Michael was deemed expendable by the Patriots after they declined his 5th-year option, but he now has a golden opportunity to revitalize his career and secure his future before hitting the open market this spring. Seeing the team aggressively address a position of weakness after such a devastating training camp injury brings a sense of relief, yet it creates a fascinating competition for carries. With Xavier Jones and Jake Funk also fighting for their place on the depth chart, we have to look closely at whether this trade actually signals a long-term shift in the rotation or just a temporary patch. How exactly will the coaching staff balance these touches once everyone is healthy again? And what does this say about the team's trust in our current backup depth? The most jarring part of this transaction involves the fact that the front office felt forced into a corner before training camp even truly hit its stride. Losing a key offensive piece like Cam Akers to an Achilles injury left the coaching staff scrambling to find reliable bodies for the ground game, and here's what people are missing. This wasn't just a simple trade. It was a direct reaction to an injury crisis that shifted our entire depth chart perspective overnight. SONY Michel arrives here carrying the weight of a declined 5th-year option, meaning the team is essentially betting on his desperate need to prove his value before reaching free agency. While his tenure in New England resulted in him falling behind in a crowded committee, the reality is that our staff viewed him as the only viable veteran option, ready to step in when Darrell Henderson started showing signs of wear with that nagging thumb injury. From the perspective of leadership behind closed doors, this move is about minimizing the catastrophic risk of our backfield lacking a proven starter. Having watched how quickly our depth evaporated, I personally think grabbing a former first-round pick for mid-round capital is a gamble we had to take just to keep the offense functional. If he can stay healthy and find the rhythm that eluded him throughout his initial 3 professional seasons, he might just transform from an expendable roster piece into the stabilizing force we clearly lacked. Watching the front office pivot this aggressively demonstrates exactly how little patience they have for uncertainty when the path to the postseason is already mapped out in front of us. Beyond just the surface level of who we added to the roster, let us transition from the transaction itself into what this means for our season trajectory. Simply put, the stakes for this specific running back rotation just went through the roof because we cannot afford a slow start to the year. With the backfield depth currently decimated by injuries, the front office is essentially betting that this veteran arrival can absorb the immediate workload that had been sliding toward Xavier Jones and Jake Funk during camp. If Michel can reclaim the form that made him a first-round selection, we gain a steady anchor. But if he falters, the pressure on our passing game becomes immense. And this is the part that gets me. Watching the organization sacrifice mid-round capital for a player looking for a 1-year prove-it deal shows they are viewing this season as a singular, narrow window where every possession counts. Regarding our upcoming schedule, having a veteran who understands the professional grind provides a much-needed buffer for those high-intensity matchups where control of the clock is often the deciding factor in close scores. Looking at the wider divisional race, securing this extra layer of experience keeps us firmly competitive against the aggressive strategies employed by our West Coast rivals, ensuring we do not fall behind simply because our personnel room is thin. Having this insurance policy means we are no longer purely reactive to health issues, providing a more balanced path toward our ultimate postseason goals. For those of us who have followed this team for years, seeing a midsummer trade signals that the front office remains entirely focused on winning now. Bringing in a veteran like SONY MICHEL offers a clear upside for a backfield currently dealing with significant health setbacks. By adding a player with his specific professional pedigree, the team gains a reliable option for early down work, which is exactly the kind of move we needed when our depth chart suddenly became a major question mark. And I cannot stress this enough. The reality of the situation involves real risks regarding his past performance and the reasons he became available in the first place. Some analysts point to the declining production and the decision by New England to let his fifth-year option expire as clear red flags for his long-term impact here. We are essentially betting on a reclamation project while the roster faces immense pressure to produce consistent yards on the ground. Sosa Kremenjas of Locked On Rams has been examining this acquisition by weighing the cost of those draft picks against how the rotation might shake out between Darrell Henderson, Xavier Jones, and Jake Funk once everyone is healthy. Personally, I think the skepticism surrounding his role is justified until we see him actually take handoffs in our scheme. While many experts view this as a straightforward attempt to stabilize the position, I believe the success of this trade hinges entirely on how quickly Michel can master the playbook compared to our younger, homegrown backups. If he truly finds his rhythm, the decision to sacrifice those specific 2022 and 2023 picks will look like a masterstroke. For now, the move remains a calculated gamble that underscores how urgent the front office views the current state of our personnel room. When you weigh the immediate personnel shift against our broader organizational outlook, it is clear that we are prioritizing short-term stability to keep our championship window wide open. Investing draft capital into a veteran like SONY Michel demonstrates a refusal to let injuries derail our momentum, signaling that management expects to compete for everything right now rather than banking on development during a season where we have high expectations. As fans, we should feel confident knowing the front office is not sitting on their hands while depth at such a vital position is tested. This move provides a safety net that keeps us from being overly reliant on unproven talent during the early stages of the year, which is a major comfort given the volatility of the backfield. What nobody is talking about is the specific contract pressure this creates, as the hunger for a new deal usually brings out the best in a player looking to secure his future. If we get the version of Michel that brings professional consistency to early downs, then our offense becomes significantly more balanced and durable against tough defensive fronts. I believe this trade turns a potential season-long headache into a manageable situation that keeps us on track for our postseason goals. The front office made their bet, and now it is on the coaching staff to get the best out of these pieces. Do you think SONY Michel will lead our team in carries during the upcoming season? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Ram it. I'll see you in the next one.